to everyone. This is Viewpoint on Noyan Tapan TV, and I am Benyamin Poghosyan, Senior Research Fellow at Armenia. Today we will discuss the situation along Armenia-Azerbaijan border in Tavush region. So what we have now? We have Azerbaijani demands to, in quote, return the 4 so-called non-enclave villages immediately to Azerbaijan. Apparently, this de facto ultimatum first was delivered to Armenia during January 31 Border Delimitation and Demarcation Commission meeting, then probably was reiterated during the same commission meeting on March 7, and then publicized by the statement of Azerbaijani Deputy Prime Minister. Then we had the Armenian Prime Minister's visit to Tavush region when he met with population of 2 villages, Voskepar and Kirans, which are very close to those areas which Azerbaijan demands to give to Azerbaijan. And Prime Minister stated that, if we are not going to accept Azerbaijani demands, then very soon, he even used the term at the end of the week, which was the end of the week, which ended on March 24, 25. He stated that at the end of the week, war may start it, and he also emphasized that I knew what war or how war would end, apparently hinting that war will end with defeat of Armenia and catastrophic implications. And also now we have the discussion that this is a part of border delimitation and demarcation process between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and we have multiple statements from Armenian authorities that yes, Armenia agreed to start border delimitation and demarcation process from Tavush region. However, we should be very clear. There could be no border delimitation and demarcation process without agreement first on maps, second on principles of border delimitation and demarcation. While as of now, as of end of March 2024, Armenia and Azerbaijan, they have no agreement neither on borders nor on principles of border delimitation and demarcation. And this fact was confirmed also by Prime Minister Pashinyan during his meeting with the population of these 2 above-mentioned villages in Tavush region. So, if there is no agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan, no agreement on maps, no agreement on border delimitation and demarcation, there is no border delimitation and demarcation process. There could not be no border delimitation and demarcation process. So all statements that look, finally Armenia and Azerbaijan started the process of border delimitation and demarcation, and they mutually agreed to start the process from Tavush region. These statements has nothing to do with reality. Again, without agreements on maps, without agreement on principles, on border delimitation and demarcation, there could not be no border delimitation and demarcation, which means that what we have now in Tavush region has nothing to do with border delimitation and demarcation process. It's simply a land grab by Azerbaijan under the threat of use of force, under the threat of new war. And Azerbaijan is very clear. Give me these 4 areas, otherwise you will face war. Again, this process has nothing to do with border delimitation and demarcation. It's simply Azerbaijani attempt for land grab using the threat of war, using the threat to use the force against Armenia. So then question may arise, okay, what Armenia should do? First of all, I believe that Armenia should not legitimize this Azerbaijani land grab, because what we have in last 2-3 weeks, the permanent daily statements by Armenian leadership that these territories are not part of Armenia, these territories were part of Azerbaijan, these territories are not legally under Armenia's control, and B, that yes, we started the border delimitation and demarcation process and we started to launch the process from Tavush region. These all actions within point A and actions within point B, they are just legitimizing Azerbaijani land grab, because if at the end of the day Armenia will be forced to give these territories to Azerbaijan, then Azerbaijan will say, of course, look, Armenia itself accepted that these are Azerbaijani territories occupied by Armenia, so this delivery of these areas or these lands to Azerbaijan is a restoration of international law, this is fully in line with international law, international rules, or if, at the end of the day, Azerbaijan may use or will use the force to take control of these 4 villages or 4 areas, again, no one can accuse Azerbaijan of anything, because Azerbaijan would say, okay, look, I have, I don't know, 100 statements by Prime Minister, 100 statements by Speaker of the National Assembly and by other high-level Armenian officials who told to the entire world and to the Armenian domestic audience that these territories are not part of Armenia, these territories are Azerbaijan's, these territories were illegally controlled by Armenia. So look, I waited for years or for months, hope to receive my occupied territories back by negotiation, but when this did not happen, I was forced to use military means to back these territories. So, by stating that these Azerbaijani demands are part of so-called legitimate border delimitation and demarcation process, that these demands and the delivery of these lands to Azerbaijan will be the start of the border delimitation and demarcation process between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And also statements that these areas are not part of Armenia, these territories or areas are part of Azerbaijan. These all are simply legitimizing the land grab by Azerbaijan, without use of force or with use of force. And again, if there is zero agreement on what maps Armenia and Azerbaijan should use for border delimitation and demarcation, to state that, okay, these areas are part of Azerbaijan because of what? Because of FAM declaration, which was signed on December 21, 1991, so-called Almaty declaration, to state that, okay, because of the declaration, which had nothing to do with border delimitation and demarcation, it was political declaration signed by several post-Soviet countries to establish the Commonwealth of independent states, to say that, okay, because of this declaration, without any maps, without anything, these areas are part of Azerbaijan, therefore Armenia should return these territories to Azerbaijan. It means simply, again, to legitimize this land grab or attempt of land grab by Azerbaijan. Instead of that, Armenian government should state on a daily basis, everyone, like starting from Prime Minister and finishing with our ambassadors in different capitals of the world, they should say that, okay, guys, what Azerbaijan is doing is a blatant attempt of a land grab. It's a blatant attempt of land grab in Europe, in the eastern end of the Europe. This is a blatant land grab which violates all international rules, laws, and which undermines rules-based international order. The statement or phrase so much loved by our Western partners, United States, European Union, individual Western countries, they on daily basis speaking about rules-based international order. No one should undermine rules-based international order. What Azerbaijan is doing starting from early 2024, this is a clear attempt to undermine rules-based international order. This is a clear attempt for land grab. And the Armenian government should be very clear about that. Instead of telling that, yes, these territories are part of Azerbaijan, or telling that, okay, this is a start of the border delimitation and demarcation process, the Armenian government should state that, look, Azerbaijan is attempting a land grab under the direct threat of the war or use of force, which again violates all international rules and norms and undermines international rules-based order. And the Armenian government should be very clear that even if it will be forced to give these areas back to Azerbaijan, it has nothing to do either with border delimitation and demarcation or with any territorial disputes or attempts to solve any territorial disputes between Armenia and Azerbaijan. This will be the clear land grab by Azerbaijan. So this is a right way to do for Armenian government. Again, Armenia should not legitimize, Armenian government should not legitimize Azerbaijani land grab, because again, what is Azerbaijan doing? Simply telling that, okay, I don't want to speak about maps, I don't want to agree about any maps, about any principles on border delimitation and demarcation, simply give me these 4 villages, otherwise I will start the war. This is a blatant land grab, blatant violation of international rules and norms. And if Armenia, instead of alarming this to the international community, will somehow say, yes, okay, Azerbaijan was right, these are the Azerbaijani territories occupied by Armenia, then simply after no one can accuse Azerbaijan of violating international rules and norms or even for land grab, because again, Azerbaijan would say that, okay, Armenian government was telling that yes, this is Azerbaijani territories illegally occupied by Armenia, so they should end this illegal occupation either willingly, by peaceful means, or I have all the rights to use force to end the illegal occupation of my territories. While if Armenian government will non-stop stating that, okay, Azerbaijan is doing land grab at the eastern part of Europe, undermining international law and undermining rules-based international order, at least even if Armenian government believes that Armenian army is weak, and if Azerbaijan attacks, it will take these 4 villages, or even if Azerbaijan attacks, then it will not stop in these 4 villages and it will make additional land grabs. And in this case, there is no difference between the categories or between the perceptions or between the reality. It will be land grab regardless if Azerbaijani army takes only these 4 areas or takes additional areas. Armenian government at least should say that yes, under the direct threat of war, I was forced to agree to the land grab by Azerbaijan and I was forced to give these territories back to Azerbaijan, but this is completely illegal. This is against all international rules and norms, and this violates international rules-based order. Otherwise, again, we will have the situation when Azerbaijan will simply digest this land grab of 4 villages. Everyone outside Armenia in the international community will say, yes, of course, this was illegally, Azerbaijani territories illegally occupied by Armenia, so this is a restoration of international law. Then Azerbaijan will say, okay, now you should give me back these additional so-called enclave villages, 4 enclave villages, 3 in Tavush region and 1 in Ararat region, Tigranashen. And again, international community will say, of course, this is Azerbaijani territories illegally occupied by Armenia, so yes, the same way as Armenia agreed to give these 4 areas or 4 villages to Azerbaijan, the same way Armenia should give back these additional 4 villages to Azerbaijan. And this process may never stop, because then Azerbaijan may speak about some demands to allow Azerbaijani citizens to travel from Azerbaijan to Nakhchivan via Armenia without any control, and this will take years and years non-stop claims. And again, this will simply legitimize the land grab, because what Azerbaijan is now trying to do, Azerbaijan is clearly seeks to do land grab against Armenia, again, which violates all international rules and norms. And one thing Armenian government should do, it should tell everyone in the international community that, guys, what is happening now is a land grab. It has nothing to do with border delimitation and demarcation, and it has nothing to do between our all attempts to settle the dispute or relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan. That's all for today, and we will meet soon.